Welcome to the final leg of our journey, to the past and to the moon. I'm Art Fusco. It's time we head back to our shiny blue slice of oblivion. Once again, we are back on the moon, and our floating marble won't know if the trans-Earth injection, or TEI, will work until we emerge from the other side of its sister. So here we go. Let's see, we've got about 10 more seconds here. By the way, I want to thank the people who made Orbiter 2010 and the Apollo add-ons. I couldn't do this simulation or have learned so much without this program. And there goes the TEI burn. This will last a couple minutes. So, while we burn, I want to read a few quotes from other astronauts who were able to look up at their home world and reflect. Taylor Wang said, "A Chinese tale tells of some men sent to harm a young girl who, upon seeing her beauty, become her protectors rather than her violators. That's how I felt seeing the Earth for the first time. I could not help but to love and cherish her." Neil Armstrong said that it suddenly struck me that that tiny pea, pretty and blue, was the Earth. I put up my thumb and shut one eye, and my thumb blotted out the planet Earth. I didn't feel like a giant. I felt very, very small. Alan Shepard said, "If somebody had said before the flight, 'Are you going to get carried away looking at the Earth from the moon?' I would have said, no way. But yet, when I first looked back at the Earth, standing on the moon, I cried." And Michael Collins said, "I believe that if the political leaders of the world could see their planet from a distance of 100,000 miles, their outlook could be fundamentally changed. That all-important border would be invisible, that noisy argument silenced. The tiny globe would continue to turn serenely, ignoring its subdivisions, presenting a unified facade that would cry out for unified understanding and homogeneous treatment. The Earth must become as it appears, blue and white, not capitalist or communist, blue and white, not rich or poor, blue and white, not envious or envied." To me, I guess it's about perspective. I mean, look away from your screen for a second and think about where you are. Think about how long you've been there and all that you've seen and learned. I mean, think about your family, your friends, your education, your childhood. Think about your problems and how important your job is to you. What's the biggest thing you've ever done? It's the end of TEI burn. Go ahead and speed up a little bit of time here while we finish everything up. Everything you can think of has happened on a seemingly insignificant blue sphere, ambiguously floating along inside of nothingness. This all happened way before I was born. I've seen plenty of pictures of the Earth all of my life, and to me, it's that surrounding nothingness that gets to me. If we're ever to harm the Earth, there's nowhere else to go. If your house is destroyed, you can find another house. If your country is under siege, you can escape to another country. But what happens if the Earth itself is harmed? Whether or not we cause these things, we still have to deal with them. Otherwise, we become extinct. Then what would be the point of all this work? Apollo 8 had a string of firsts. It was the first time humans left the planet Earth. It was the first time they saw the whole Earth as spheres from space, the first time they were exposed to solar radiation beyond the Earth's magnetic field, the first time humans had entered another gravitational field. It was the first time humans orbited the moon and saw the backside of it firsthand. They were the first to see Earthrise from the moon's orbit, and they broke crazy speed and distance records. Yet how many of you people actually know of Apollo 8? When I explained this project to my father, who was born in the 50s, he didn't remember it at all. He remembered Apollo 11 though. So, after a successful TEI, the crew found some gifts in the ship from their friends and their wives, including a turkey dinner and 3 small bottles of brandy. See folks, even in space, alcohol makes a cameo as a celebratory gesture in history, but as a symbolic one in this case, as the bottles stayed unopened for years after the mission. Now, if you want to know more about the significance of alcohol in our history and our lives, be sure to subscribe to this channel, Terrible Films, and check out my upcoming web series, Alcoholic Anthology, starting in January. Okay, enough spamming. So, to conclude our story, other than some unexpected mid-course corrections, which we won't do here, we're pretty much done. The ride back was uneventful, and they were able to successfully separate from the service module, and their re-entry went perfect. Except for when the command module finally landed in the water and flipped on its side. After about 45 minutes in the water, Frank Borman, once again, got sick. After lots of studies, researchers believed that he was suffering from something called seasickness. That's it. That's the end of Apollo 8 Revisited. I'm Mark Fusco, and I will conclude this series with a message from the astronauts.
It's now approaching lunar sunrise, and for all the people back on Earth, the crew of Apollo 8 has a message that we would like to send to you. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness.
And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. Let it divide the waters from the waters." And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day.
God said, "Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. God saw that it was good. And from the crew of Apollo 8, we close with good night, good luck, a Merry Christmas, and God bless all of you on the good earth.